What's up, guys?
What's going on?
What's happening?
We're back.
Hey, have y'all ever had like a knot under your shoulder blades that you could feel?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
It's fucking killing me.
What's going on, Bill? Are you okay? Is your
Quite
right arm hurting?
My left.
Are you all right over there?
Yeah. I'm gonna go find a massage.
Get some like blading and some cupping done.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude.
Whoa.
Is it because you have to carry us through these sessions every time?
Yeah. It's his command hoot arm.
Right.
Sword. So we're getting ready for a journey, huh? Is that
A journey.
Yeah, and I think we talked a
A
bit
sojourn.
off air about maybe since speed is we need some speed, so I think we're gonna try to acquire some horses, get some mounts.
Sure. You have an equine breedsman in your settlement. That's his profession.
is he going to haggle with us at all, or is he going to give us market value?
He's a breedsman.
Yeah,
Or
are
we
we
just
market
do-
value or these donations? Air
These
quotes.
kingdom horses.
Yes.
I mean, technically, they're all Chris's horses.
So I think
My
what you guys
horses.
must do is you issue a request for proposal to your citizenry to see who can provide you with horses at the lowest price. And after waiting a day or two, you receive one bid from Fil Flipperson is his name.
Fil Flipperson. I'm writing this down.
Fil Flipperson.
Phil.
And he responds to your request for proposal at the fair market value for four
The
horses.
price in the
So
core
Kurtala pipes up here and he suggests that he's not a big fan of single payer horse care. So we may need to find how we can. No, I won't go. It was a stretch anyway, but
Fil Flipperson. Is that 2 P's or 2 F's?
yeah.
I'm illiterate.
It's a PF.
I'm not sure. My father was Fil Flipperson, and I'm Fil Flipperson. Or his father was Fil Flipper.
Is it from the Greenbelt Flippersons?
Yeah.
Do you have cousins in Brevoy, by chance?
Yeah, my Flipperson cousins are there.
What is that smell?
That's just the way I smell. I ain't had a bath ever in my life.
I've never had
Chris,
a
can we make a proclamation about cleanliness in your kingdom?
Hygiene.
You proclaim.
A hygiene proclamation.
Phil, there's a giant lake.
Yeah, so ponies.
They're 8 gold a pop, right?
Yes, I'm looking it up right now. Unless we want war horses. Yeah, riding horses are
Riding
8
horse.
gold apiece.
That's a good value.
I feel like Dry's like, no, I'll take the war horse.
With his giant
I'll take
long
that one.
hammer and his...
He's got the long hammer still. It's like over his shoulder on his
You
horse.
guys realize that I'm like fucking 5'6", and weigh like 130.
All right.
Now, fellas, do you want me to shoe the horses for you?
They don't come shoed. Is that extra?
We'll need that.
Or is
That's
it
extra.
shod? They don't come shod. Are they extra?
They don't come shod either.
How much does shoe the horses?
It's like a silver.
25 gold a horse.
Jesus.
Fellas, you're not paying just for the shoes. You're paying for my experience.
Yeah, so it's free, right?
No, I mean, whatever. No, he's not going to give you any kind of bulk discount because he has 6 horses and you just bought 5 of them.
Well, why don't we buy the fifth? Why don't we buy the
4
6th
to
one
feed.
and use it just to haul things?
I think Kurtala looks at Phil and says, "Phil, this was a chance. You could have been the basically the horse kingpin of the stolen lands, and you chose a different path. Thank you for the horses, though. Appreciate it."
Well, Katal, I don't know what you want me to do. There's literally not a lot of horses around here. Why are you giving me shit?
Phil, why you sound like you're hammered?
What? Why?
Okay. We've got our horses.
All right, I'm checking out my horse.
I want to like you guys, but you're not making it easy.
Oh, Fil Flipperson. All right, so when are we making this voyage?
Right now.
Well, Dry's gonna stop by the supply store and pick up some skins.
Oh,
because it's gonna be
It's Mr. Longhammer. How'd that do for you there?
I'm gonna be like, do you want to buy it back?
Third
No.
price.
No, I do not.
Because then I'm just gonna leave it here.
Yeah, he'll buy it back half the price. Yeah, and sell it back to me. He's like, that's used now.
No, really,
Actually,
it wasn't.
It wasn't.
I swung it one
It
time.
got dropped on the floor.
Yes, it got dropped on the floor.
I swung, I missed, and then it got dropped on the floor. That's the only time. It's the only thing that happened to it.
What?
I think we call that gently used.
Gently used.
I do have a legit question. Our general store, would I be able to pick up a level 2 scroll, or is it too low of a store for that?
I think because your settlement is level 1, then the store only carries.
Okay, so it's got
one and
level
down.
I'd have to go to Oleg. Okay.
Yeah. But, while we're talking about this kingdom turn chicanery and stuff, I like kingdom turns, but my concern is that the amount of them that we're going to have to do is going to be a little too repetitive for the podcast. So
Yeah.
what I think I want to do is we will still from time to time run a kingdom turn on the air,
Yeah.
but I would imagine after this expedition we're going to do right now, my feeling is that you're going to come back and do like a bunch of kingdom turns all in a row. We're going to do them off air, but we're going to report our results. I think I might have already talked about this on the air. I can't remember now, but yeah, eventually, because we need to start kind of working through leveling up the kingdom and stuff. So we're not doing that right now, but I would imagine maybe after this, after we record the stuff here, we're going to sit around and maybe do, I don't know,
Probably 3 or 4.
5
get to the spring.
kingdom turns. Yeah. Get into the spring. Yeah. But yeah, so you visit, Narthropple, you visit, Dundee Sundries, where that little gnome gives you shit, and, Fil Flipperson sells you 5 horses and gets a bad impression of you. And, we're all provisioned. Now you guys have sketched out for me a potential route that you want to take, that not only covers a bunch of unsearched hexes, but also ends at Bokken's hut. And so do we just want to do that?
Yeah.
Do we set off?
Let's go.
Now that you have the horses, I think now you're telling me you can do 2 travel activities a day.
Yes.
Okay. You guys set out from Fort Trand, I'm going to say 2 days after the full moon. Okay. So you got like 28 days before Syria's got to get under lock and key again. You're armed with the knowledge that Bokken might know where Wolfsbane is, or might have some. You know that Wolfsbane can cure Sirio Xavier Sertova of his lycanthropy. Separate and apart from that, you also know that Bokken knew Marcia Groning and Chuck Groning and Nugra 30 years ago, and was involved in perhaps some kind of campaign or quest to close a passageway somewhere in the Stolen Lands that led to a section of the Sekmina. And Bokken might know something about Mitch's mother's whereabouts, or what became of her. He might know more about Mitch's dad, too. So, I mean, there's kind of a couple reasons why you want to go to Bokken. Boy, I don't know. Hey, the only other question I have right now is that, Mitch, have you incorporated Horst's Roka sword into your kit, or are you not using it?
I am. Yeah, I will use that. So this morning when I woke up, I'll prepare that and have it on my hip.
It's heavy, and it's not only is it literally heavier than your own modified Roka sword, but you're heavy with the knowledge of this sword's history. What was it used for? Was this ever your mother's? Why did Horst have one? What did he do with it? What history does this blade have? It's kind of an interesting thing, but I mean, hey, look, an upgrade's an upgrade, right?
Well, yeah, and it's so actually, it's prepared, but the only thing that affects is the Megaton Strike. So if I want to do that, I have to use this weapon, but I have them both kind of on my person. Like,
I see. Okay, so you can have either.
Yeah, my old sword was kind of my standby, so I always have that handy.
Well, you set forth into the crisp winter air, and you are able to travel fast enough to do two exploration activities a day. So you proceed according to your pre-planned route to the northeast into this hex where the Shrike River and the other river, I can't remember what the other one's called, but they meet in this hex, and then the rivers together flow into the Tuskwater Lake. You're in this hex, and it's an uneventful first half of the day as you ride out along the northern banks of the Shrike River. I'll take that perception check at this point from the party to reconnoiter.
You said nope.
Nope.
I rolled a 12.
Anyone else?
17 for Kurtala.
Got a 16.
Not a tremendously exciting hex, but you do find a river crossing. Oh, I have it here in the book. It's the Thorn River and the Shrike River. The Thorn River and the Shrike River meet and then flow together into the Tuskwater. At this spot here, you find that the Thorn River grows unusually shallow here. You find a ford location that is never deeper than 3 feet. In this spot, you find a reliable river crossing.
Cool. So that wouldn't slow us down then, crossing the Thorn.
Correct. You've now found a good spot to cross the Thorn River that is better than the Rickety Bridge, which was where you fought the owlbear all those episodes ago.
Yeah.
You're not that far away from the Rickety Bridge. It's only 1 hex to the northwest. It's kind of funny how you could have seen a lot of these hexes, from the beginning. You camp there that night, and, things are rather uneventful. And the fact of the matter is you guys are 4th level dudes riding around in the Greenbelt. There's not a lot here. It's really going to fuck with you guys anymore, All
right, let's head east the next morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do so. You are able to, your first travel activity is going to take you straight back into the hex that contains the Suit Scale Caverns, or should I say the Snickerdoodle Caverns. Remember those guys?
Oh, yeah. Can we stop by and say hi?
Sure. Sure, I've prepared that.
How did you not think we were going to do that?
I don't know.
They're good neighbors. Come on.
That's true.
Howdy,
This is
neighbor.
kind of interesting. It's occurred to me that the Suit Scale Caverns are only 2 hexes away from Fort Trand.
Yeah.
They are right in the neighborhood. Just 2
cup of
days
sugar?
ride, or now a 1-day ride. You arrive at the familiar caverns to see a bustling little civilization kind of going on here. King Snickerdoodle is happy to see you. He receives you in his throne room. He's I think at this point I think you vassalized them, haven't you? I think. Haven't you? I can't remember.
Yes.
I think yes, you did. Yes, you
yeah.
did. You integrated them, or whatever it's called. And so, they weren't prepared for you or anything, but they're highly respectful. You've noticed their numbers have grown a little bit. You see that there are a few kobolds that are of different scale colored. They're not every kobold here is a soot colored kobold anymore. There's some red and yellow as well, and their numbers continue to grow, and they appear to be doing just fine.
Mitch he brought a basket, kind of a gift basket for the frog fucker family.
Oh, mom, pa, frog fucker. Yeah. Nice callback. Yeah. They're like, we mourned our son for 4 fortnights. Thank you for this. It means a lot to us.
Oh, well, good talk. Gotta go.
And kind of seeing that their numbers are growing, and that, they're supposedly loyal to us, I kind of want to, I don't know if there's a check I can make to, as we're talking to them, to kind of get a general feel, or if there's any discontent against our leadership and rule.
Make a diplomacy check to gather information.
It's a 26.
Ooh, nice.
No discontent. I mean, look, let's relive history a little bit. You came in, you realized that Tartuk was an imposter, killed him, peacefully assisted them in peacefully transferring the power from Suitscale to Snickerdoodle, and then through diplomacy integrated them into your kingdom, thereby conferring your protection onto them and allowing them to thrive under your safety. And, you know, they're content in the fact that you'll defend them if anything ever happens, and that they are, as a society, really turning over a new leaf. You know, one of the big developments that Suitscale never bothered to do is Snickerdoodle. They're passing laws and rules for themselves. It's a lot less of a tribe now and more of a community. And, you know, they're happy.
Yeah, it's good to hear. Civilizing the Cabalds. And if I remember right, these caverns, are they also silver mine?
They are also a silver mine. I will tell you that, you know, I don't have any kind of mechanic or anything in the book for them to become a resource, but I don't see why. I mean, I don't see why they couldn't become a source for a luxury resource alongside the gold mine, you know, that you have elsewhere. So it seems to me that once this hex is like officially claimed and part of your, you know, region, that this could produce, you know, luxury goods for you.
Very nice.
Cool. So, like, when we made that fealty check or whatever during our kingdom turn, if we critted, we could have just acquired the hex, but now we have to claim it.
I got
Yes, had you crit it would have been a non-contiguous hex integrated into your kingdom. But because it was just a success, they've pledged fealty to you, but they're like a secondary territory or something.
Gotcha.
Right?
Cool. Well, that's I guess that's a good health check on the the Snickerdoodles.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye.
You ride then. Maybe you spent the night there. You're just gonna kind of want to do it that way, you know,
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
start fresh.
that
the
would
next
be our
morning.
second activity. Would be checking with the.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I can think of nothing more pleasant than showing up unannounced and then spending the night.
Staying there.
Exactly.
You know, they've got a place for you, and they hold a banquet that night, and you guys eat, you know, well, they eat a whole lot of boar in this community. So you eat boar. You wake up the next morning, bid farewell, and you, according to your route, you then ride for the northeast into another new hex. You're riding along the Shrike River. Okay, the river's to your right, always. You know, as you go northeast, and eventually, you know, you come to a place of incline. The elevation goes up a little bit, but the river, of course, stays level. So you find yourself kind of going up a cliff that borders the river, and the river begins getting lower and lower onto your right. Eventually, you come to what looks to be like a destroyed rope bridge. So it's a rope bridge, not dissimilar from that rickety bridge where you fought the owlbear all those months ago. This bridge looks utterly destroyed, though. You know, normally there would be two parallel ropes suspended across this chasm with boards, you know, kind of interspersed in there. What you see here is that only one of the ropes remains. And eventually, like, you think, well, I guess you could, like, shimmy across the rope. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could cross over the river that way if you needed to. Now, this particular route you're on doesn't actually require you to cross the river, but you could if that's what you wanted to do. And you see that next to the rope is, like, a little sign. The signpost reads, Nettles Crossing, 5 coppers, ring bell for service. Huh. And a little rusty bell hangs by the sign.
We don't have any reason to cross, right?
Not really, but there's a bell that is just itching to be rung.
Yeah, like, I don't see a reason why we shouldn't ring it.
I believe there is a citizen making profit off of public land
there it is.
without authorization.
It's not quite our territory, though.
Oh, that's true. It's not our territory yet, is it?
We haven't claimed it yet.
Well, let's talk to, you say Nettle?
Yeah, so
Nettle.
it's
Is that
Nettle.
2 T's?
Yeah, Nettle. Yeah, so again, the sign reads, Nettles Crossing, 5 coppers, ring bell for service. But then the bridge is destroyed, right? And it's just, there's just a piece of rope kind of connecting the two.
And there's no building or anything?
I'm going to ring the bell.
Well, so the bridge looks like it once was intact, but it's now been, like, destroyed.
Okay. Yeah, Carjalo rings the bell.
Yeah.
Sure. So you ring the bell, like, for a few moments, like, nothing happens. And then, like, eventually, like, you look down into the water, and there's like a zombie down there.
Oh,
What?
And he's like, and he's like slowly begins like trundling up climbing up very slowly up the banks of the river. And he's like, and he's got this like harpoon looking weapon in one hand. He eventually kind of slings it over his back. He kind of looks like Alien Edgar from Men in Black, you know?
Yeah.
He's got this like silver white long hair and kind of muscly green skin and just a pair of trousers on. He's got one shoe and one barefoot. And like his sock is like in his waistband, you know, and he's kind of really weird looking, and his eyes are like rotted out, and he's just like, he comes clambering up, and he kind of like arms himself. He's kind of like near you now, I don't know, within 20 feet or something like that. And he and then he goes, yo, whoa, wait, you are not my tormentors. You bring me the body of the Stag Lord and throw his ass in the water so I may look upon his face.
what?
Well, him kind of resembling Edgar from Men in Black. I would offer a big cup of sugar, but we already gave that to the Snickerdoodles. So all I can really offer him is not the Stag Lord body, but I do kind of ask Dry, hey Dry, can you take off your helmet for a hot second? Show it to this zombie dude.
I will pull it off and hold it in my hands in front of him.
So yeah, he looks at the zombie and he goes, you know, brother, maybe news is a little slow up here, and you didn't hear about what happened to the Stag Lord, brother. You know, he was, I don't know if you're aware, but he's like 800 pounds, and when Kajala picked up that 800-pound Stag Lord in front of the dozens and dozens of fans there and picked him up and slammed him down, and you could feel the shock waves all throughout the stolen lands. But I guess, brother, you didn't hear about that. So, and
he's
then
like, whoa, yeah,
there you go. It's marking out, buddy. So yeah, unfortunately, there is no body to present. Yeah, but yeah, it's really surprising. You could ask really anybody, and I think he would find out this information.
He does not live.
No, he does not.
No, he's very dead.
His story is sad and somewhat short. You know, through choppy sentences, you know, he expresses to you what happened to him at the hands of the Stag Lord. Maybe about a year ago, the Stag Lord and his bandits discovered him. Davik Nettles is his name, and he had himself a tight little business charging 5 coppers for people to cross his bridge. And he used those funds to maintain the bridge, keep it safe for various travelers and people that made their living off of the land. The Stag Lord came to him and told him, you know, you will now forward 2/3 of your profits to me. And Nettles said no. And when the bandits came to collect, much like they did with Oleg, Nettles was able to run them off and defend his business. Of course, you can probably assume the rest of the story. Stag Lord and his bandits returned one night and destroyed the bridge with Nettles on it. Using flaming arrows, destroyed the bridge, burned it down, sent Nettles falling toward the water, where he died. About a month later, the bandits returned to the site, attempted to build a new bridge, but at that point Davik Nettles had risen as an undead, and had bagged between 4 and 5 bandits Until eventually the Stag Lord wisely abandoned the endeavor altogether. Today, Nettles haunts this place, but of course, seeing that you are neither the Stag Lord nor a Stag Lord bandit, did not attack you on sight. Having now presented the Stag Lord's helm to Nettles, Nettles declares at this point, "Now, I rest." And he simply walks himself back down into the river. And you see him sink down toward the bottom and just simply be carried off by the current. But not before he leaves his weapon with you. A +1 Ransuer.
What's that?
Sounds cool.
It's another weapon I'll take, so I never use my sword.
Bill, I imagine Dry's horse is just like a weapon cabinet.
I mean, he's got his 2 dueling swords, and then
I guess
his
you
bow
did.
now.
You did sell the Warhammer back.
I got rid of the hammer. Yeah, and then I have your silver dagger.
A Ransuer is a polearm. It's that ends in a long trident with a central prong that's longer than the other 2 prongs.
Oh,
Polearm.
Cool.
But yeah, it's +1 Ransuer worth, I would say 37 gold pieces. That's what that's worth.
37 gold.
He just drops it to the ground, and so you can use Nettles Crossing by shimmying across the rope, but having presented the proof of the Stag Lord's demise to Davik Nettles, he can rest now and will trouble you not at all.
So we probably won't repair the crossing now, but definitely when we come up here to claim the hex, that'll be part of our process. I think in the meantime, we need to dismantle the sign, and I guess he was kind of a tortured spirit until the Stag Lord was dealt with, but he seems to be at peace, so let's take down his stuff.
I think when we reopened the bridge, we rechristened it Nettles Crossing, and this time in honor of him, not right like a place of his demise.
Okay, yeah. So let's hold on to the bell then.
Sure, the bell and the sign,
Just
and
at least
all
the
of his
sign, yeah, all that. It'd be fun.
infrastructure. Yeah,
Mark it up to 1 silver.
yeah,
Double the
and
price.
as you finish your mark it up to 1 silver. Sorry, I just got that. As you finish your search of this hex, you'll eventually find his cottage nearby. There's nothing left. It's just burned down. I mean, he's just totally like a senseless victim of the Stag Lord's horrible rule. For our listeners that played the computer game, you'll recall Davik Nettles was kind of a big thing. I mean, I remember him a lot from the game. He's kind of a memorable event. It's really easy to just decide to kill him. Like, that's totally like a text option that comes up, if you're like a good character and he's undead, right? I mean, some people just attack him on sight. Davik Nettles his character sheet is long. He's got a lot of stuff he can do, but I think you guys made the right call, not attacking him on sight.
I guess we'll camp and then continue east.
Yeah.
Sure. You continue following the Shrike River into the hex immediately east, and as you map that out, I'll take the perception check.
Oh, that 20. That's a 29 for Sirio.
Oh,
No, that's a 30.
a 30.
There you go.
Sirio, you were especially attentive that day. Ironic, because there's nothing to discover.
Awesome. I'm glad I burned that 20.
There you go.
No news is good news.
Yeah, no. This is just a standard plains hex with, again, the Shrike River flows through it. Probably a good location for a city, if you ever want to put one here someday. But yeah, you don't find anything else. I will emphasize to you at this point that it is cold, okay? We're reaching temperatures in kind of the low teens right now. Again, I'm not going to bother with the extreme or moderate cold mechanics and stuff. I assume you've got, appropriate clothing for all of this, but this is cold. You're glad that the trolley is back on blocks, or wherever back at the kingdom. So
Well, let's keep following the route. We'll camp here and go northeast.
Yep.
Continuing to follow the Shrike River to the northeast, you come to this hex now. Let's take the perception check for this one.
Oh, natty 20 from Katala.
There it is.
Oh, man. I want you guys to think back to a very early episode of the podcast. Do you remember the episode where you guys discovered a waterfall?
Yeah.
You just started entering the Stonelands.
I do.
You discovered the waterfall.
Yes.
Sirio, for some reason, decides to climb it. Rolls a natural 20. You guys walk in behind. You discover a little cave back behind the waterfall, as is tradition for any game. You get back into that cave, and that is where you found your very first Stag Lord medallion.
Yeah, that's
which,
right.
Bashk Tran was really freaked out by that. Well, there's a misprint in the book.
Oh.
Is it supposed to be in this hex?
That waterfall was supposed to be in this hex.
Oh.
Okay.
And so the Shrike Cascade landmark is here. I don't know what to tell you guys, except that I guess you found it here too.
That makes sense since it's actually in a hex with the Shrike River.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's
I
valid.
think a retcon is in order right now, because here's the thing. The hex that you searched all those months and months and months ago didn't have the Shrike Cascade in it. It had Fort Serenko in it, which is an old abandoned fort.
Oh, wow.
The book inverted these two landmarks in
goodness.
its first printing, and it was actually a very well-prepared fellow Kingmaker GM that pointed this out to me. I got early on, right when we set our Discord up, I got a message from a guy, and he's like, hey, you know that the Shrike Cascade is actually in the wrong hex, right? And I was like, no, it's a shame. I've recorded myself, putting in the wrong hex and putting it on the internet. Yeah, so I think the retcon is this. Let's just re-envision this in our minds.
Yeah.
It wasn't the cave behind the Shrike Cascade where the party found its first Stag Lord amulet. It was instead in abandoned Fort Serenko where the party found its first Stag Lord amulet. There's nothing else in Fort Serenko. It's disheveled. It's destroyed. Could be rehabilitated someday, but in any event, I don't really know what else to tell you guys, except that I have overwhelming praise for the Kingmaker developers and authors, and this is a reasonable misprint.
Yeah.
There you have it.
It's a nice place for a fort. The fork in the river is right there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So is
Yeah,
there any need to search again? Like,
no.
no. Okay.
Sirio doesn't want to do that
Yeah, he doesn't want to try it again.
waterfall hike again.
Yeah, sure. Hey,
Sirio,
make an
I don't know,
athletics
man.
check.
You got your foam chassis. You're fine.
Can we send someone else?
Float down the river.
Katala reaches up and says, look, brother, if you don't want to do it, we understand. I can do it.
All right, I'll tag Pratala in.
All right.
Oh, did you get the tag, Ratal? Yeah, roll the athletics check to shimmy along the.
Natty 19.
Oh, you get in behind there, the Shrike River Cascade. You find the cave back behind. You go in there and you
Shocking.
find a Stag Lord amulet.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. I'm not really sure how else to handle this. It's just total reasonable misprint. But yeah, so the fort was discovered months and months ago, and today you discover the Shrike Cascade.
But
landmark.
was there anything else in that fort that we would have found if we went there that should appear in the cave now?
The fort itself actually has nothing.
Totally abandoned.
It plays no.
It only has the Stag Lord pendant, like this cave did when we.
I had the option
It's
of
fine.
putting that there and chose to do that, but
Gotcha.
the fact of the matter, this is a sandbox campaign. I mean, that fort can play
Yeah.
a role maybe later on, but there's nothing
Okay.
story related that you would have discovered.
Okay.
Separate and apart from that amulet all those months ago.
Sorry for
That's a reasonable
grinding
question.
that to a halt.
No. I mean, it's a good question.
Well, yeah, let's make camp behind the waterfall, and then in the morning we'll head west.
Okay. All right. You get up the next morning. At this point, you head due west into another unsearched hex. You know what I'm going to say? Let's have the perception check. We haven't done this in a while. We haven't done any hexploration. It's kind of fun,
Proper
right?
exploration. So Siri got a terrible roll, but his Fox Kit Cleo got a 22.
Oh, okay.
That's a 18 for Kurtala.
Single digits for Mitch.
22 for dry. Does Hoot get a roll?
Yeah, sure. You can have a roll.
20 plus 15. What is that?
Is that a natural 20 plus 15?
Can my horse roll?
Jeez.
Sure.
You know, this is a blank hex. There's nothing here.
Oh, God damn it.
It's good flat land, though.
There's just nothing here. Just beautiful, wonderful. And, you know, it's technically, I will classify it as a hex with a river in it. See that little river kind of comes right up into the bottom?
Yeah.
This is be excellent farmland here, I would imagine.
Keep on trucking.
Yep.
Yeah, camp and
move.
keep going.
Yeah, due west into another hex. That's fine. And you know what I'm going to say. Let's get the checks there, dudes.
21 for dry.
28.
Sirio, you come across an old lightning-struck oak tree in this plains hex that stands atop a low hill. It's the only tree, like a 2-mile radius. From the north, the tree looks eerily like a claw reaching for the clouds. You get close enough to the tree to notice that the ground beneath a hollow in the tree's roots on the north side of it has been disturbed.
It's been digging. Well, I'm kind of remembering back, and I was like, man, I wish Bask were here. He kind of knew. Like, I know about nature, but he was kind of more in tune than I was.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to do a recall nature check to see what may dig up oak roots.
Yeah,
If that's
was,
that's a
some
natural
fauna.
one.
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if my dubious knowledge skill feat kicks in there.
Yeah, man.
Or
Yeah, I'll give you dubious knowledge on this. You think either a person did it or a badger.
all right, guys. It was a badger man who dug this up.
Badger man.
Badger,
And is the tree dead?
No, it's alive.
I think we should dig up the hole, see what's in there.
Yeah. Mitch is going to go and dig around.
You got a little shovel, right, with your gear?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or a crowbar. We'll use that.
Okay. Why would you use a crowbar instead of your shovel?
Because I don't have a shovel in my inventory, Mike.
I thought you had a shovel.
That's a pretty good
So
reason.
use your crowbar.
Use my brand new sword.
Look, it takes about 10 minutes, but eventually you find like a leather bag
Full of badgers?
full of badgers.
No!
Yeah. No, it's like in under the roots. Like it looks like someone stashed something here. Like there's a little bit of a cache here.
I will open this satchel.
It's a satchel.
You find a dagger. You find a wand.
Oh.
You find a silver ring.
Oh.
And you find what looks to be a wizard's spell book.
Whoa.
Oh, my God. What
A wizard spell
is
book?
going on here?
Yeah.
Are there any names or any kind of
Engraving.
identifying?
There's nothing identifying about this. Do I have a column of backstory for this? Yes. Does the cache itself have any of this information accessible to you? No.
Wow. That's useful. Cool storytelling.
Okay. I assume Sirio was detecting magic, but did he detect any magic?
Yeah, the dagger, the wand, and the book are all magical. The ring is mundane, but appears to be a silver ring worth 10 gold pieces.
Okay.
Cool. I'm gonna page through the wizard book, the spell book, just to see if there's any kind of unique identifying markers or if it's just a wizard book.
So the spell book has been heavily damaged by the passing rains. Looks like this thing has been buried for a better part of a year. Again, you wonder, is this somehow related to the Stag Lord's, horrible rule over this area? Most of the spells and the name of the owner of the book have all been lost to the water damage. But there are some spells in the book that are still legible and usable. In this book are the spells Dispel Magic, Illusory Object, Mage Armor, Shrink, and Unseen Servant. I think there is a process through which you as a sorcerer can learn these as well, if they're on the primal spell list, by the way. I think maybe you can add them to your repertoire.
Yeah, I could probably retrain into any of the primal ones.
Yeah, so But I even think separate and apart from that, I think you can use Arcana in downtime. I think. I'm a little unclear on that. I'll have to reread that part of your class, but I think you can even expand your rep beyond what you get at leveling. The dagger is a +1 dagger, and the wand is a wand of burning hands, level 1.
Oh. Whoa.
So it looks like, and I guess the final thing I'll tell you is that the wand itself looks fancy.
Fancy.
It's got it's kind of bejeweled.
Is it monogrammed by chance?
No, not monogrammed, but again, just nice. And the spell book too. It's got metal brackets on it and gold leaf inlay, and the leather has been carved, and it's this beautiful object. You get the feeling that the owner of these items was rich, but how did they get stashed under this tree? It doesn't make any sense.
Huh. Does not make any sense to us. I wonder if we'll ever find out.
Well, I'll hold on to the wand that gives me a free burning hands.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I would hold on to the spellbook if I were you too.
Well, we're going to take all of it, right?
It's moldy and I don't want to care. So.
All right.
And it's a wizard. It's a wizard book. I was just whatever.
Don't we have a wizard back at the... Isn't one of the NPCs
you got
a wizard?
Octavia. Yeah.
Octavia, there we go.
Yeah.
Octavia.
Had to make herself a new spell book at some point, but she could probably...
Yeah, I guess it's worth holding on to ask someone who actually knows about written magic what's going on there.
Yeah. You found the forgotten cache. Looks like you could wake up the next morning and make Bokkens by the late afternoon.
Bokkens are bust.
I think that's the plan.
Yep.
You do this thing. You ride out of the Greenbelt back into the Rosslyn hinterlands where it all started for you guys. This is a more arid area, further away from water, more of a drier plains than a more supple, irrigated area. And you know where Bokkens is. I think you received the location from Oleg a long time ago. And it's probably about 4 or 5 p.m., in the afternoon. The sun is beginning to go down. It's winter, so the days are shorter. And you see what must be Bokken's hut on the horizon.
Mitch is going to actually stow both of the Roka swords and just have out the Warhammer that he didn't sell back. Just doesn't really know how that's going to trigger.
Sure.
And then also kind of talking to everybody else, wondering, this is somebody that associates with Nugra as well. Do we need to be prepared? What if Nugra's here?
Valid questions.
So I think we go in kind of prepared, weapons out.
Kritala's always got his weapons out. He's ready to go.
You're always armed and dangerous.
That's right.
I guess we got to register you as a lethal weapon, huh?
Well, and I'm kind of the same way too. So I guess I don't really need to have the staff in my hands. Yeah. I'll just go ahead and where do I stash the staff?
You can just wear it on your back, right?
We'll wear it on my back, sure. Yeah. And Mitch, do you want to take point talking to Bokken?
Yeah.
So you approach, and as you get closer, what you see is just a simple clay hut with a thatched roof. Looks like it's well maintained, well cared for, well crafted, but also very simple. And around the hut is a very simple fence that's just comprised of tree logs, thin tree logs that have been hammered into the ground in a circle. And you can see a couple pigs milling about within this enclosure. They look, again, well cared for, and they've got a little pig hutch that they can go sleep in and if they need it. And the cold has broken today. The temperature has risen to, I'd say, about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So there's some snow melt occurring today. Sloshy, your horses are getting all muddy. You're getting all muddy. And at this point, you find yourselves next to this fence, and there's a simple door. As you get close to the door, you might have been expecting a man, but that's not who comes striding out the door. It's a halfling, Bokken. It's got to be him. He's got this grayish, greenish hair that is, he's kind of looking like Doc Brown a little bit. I mean, his hair is just out like crazy. It's this just like puff of cotton almost. And he's got no facial hair, and his face looks weathered but healthy. Behind his eyes is sort of a lifelong lived. You know what I'm saying? He comes out and just sort of stands at the door and looks at you. And he says, I was wondering when you lot would show up. I know who you are. You're king, aren't you? Took down that stag lord. Set yourself up a nice little place, didn't you? Happy to have helped you a little bit. And then he looks over and says, I know who you are, Mitchell. Come on in. Come on.
Are you alone?
Well, yeah. That's part of being a hermit, ain't it?
Okay. Is there like signs of anyone else being around? Like, is there a horse tethered? Well, I suppose Negro wouldn't ride a horse, but is it ground
roll a perception check as you enter his yard.
12.
Yeah, are there 2 cups of tea on the table? No. Yeah, I'm going to kind of peer around as well because I'm just a little suspicious.
A giant fucking bear.
Because I feel that he readily gave us those ingredients for the transformation spell to turn Bashk into Ginger Bashk human form, and we know what happened because of that. I got a 22 on the perception just to see if anything's out of place.
No. Nothing looks out of the ordinary. I mean, as you catch a glimpse inside of his hut and you just see just herbs and alchemical supplies and what must be a very bustling, highly skilled alchemical practice. But you don't see any other evidence of like another person being here or anything untoward.
All right. Step in. Is there room for all of us to get into this little hut? Or?
Yeah. I mean, and little is relative. I mean, there's like a table with a couple of seats, and there's a bench you can sit on, and a couple other chairs. And I mean, it's a single room. There's a bed in the corner, and I'd say half of the floor space is taken up with an alchemical lab. It's highly sophisticated compared to kind of the rough exterior of this house. And you realize quickly that you're in the presence of a powerful alchemist. Well, what can I do for you?
Well, I think for starters, the more immediate issue is we are in the search of some wolfsbane.
Oh, you have a lycanthropy problem down there in Fort Trand, is it?
It's aside from there's no reason to answer that, but we're just in the search of some wolfsbane, looking for information.
What else would you need it for?
Well, we did have a werewolf problem. The emphasis on the did. We had to put him down, but just in case that crops up again, we want to be prepared.
I'll just need a deception check for that.
Okay. My familiar also has the partner in crime. Because I can slot 2 familiar things. That's one of them for today.
Yeah, two abilities.
Yeah, so it will be able to aid on this check.
Let's do it.
So I got a total of 29 before the aid.
Yes.
That's awesome.
He takes you at face value on that. He just goes, I don't have wolfsbane, but I know how to make, I guess what you could call a serum. Most can't survive the dose of the plant. That's a tragic thing about lycanthropy and trying to cure it. Cure is worse than the disease. But, with the root, I can synthesize something a little less potent that will stave off the effects of the transformation during full moon.
This would be more of a treatment than a cure, right?
It's advanced stuff, but I can get it done.
Made from the root of the same plant.
Yes, I need wolfsbane. I don't have it.
Where can we get it?
The south. It grows to the south. You heard of the Selin Hills, the Hook Tongue Slough, southern Gnarl Marches. You can find it out that way.
Man, that's a lot of traveling.
Dude. Do you know who I am?
Well, I mean, I know your name alongside everyone else's.
Do you know my last name?
Suppose I do.
Do you know anyone else by that last name?
He kind of, a crease of concern kind of crosses his brow, but you kind of get the feeling that this dude is old. And he's past any kind of pretense. He's past any kind of desire to lie or anything like that. And he just says, well, I get the feeling that I do.
Right.
And he kind of sits down heavily.
I'll
sighs.
Pull out the note and kind of put it in front of him. And then pull out the sword and put it on the table on top of the note.
Make a perception check.
Person for that check. That's a 20 adjusted.
His eyes go wide, his breathing speeds up, and it's you can see his heart racing.
Jesus, don't have a heart attack, dude.
And he says, "Oh, I'd heard the rumors that you used a Roka sword, son.
That's all I had.
Why would you invite this thing into your mind? Do you know what this is?"
I don't. I know it's the sword that my mom left. That's all I had of her.
Marcia she's misled, son. She thought that if she turned the enemy's weapons against it and used them, that they would become afraid of her. She talked Horst into it, too. What do you think it got them? It got them nothing. No benefit. Just their own stress. Do you know who the Erdefin are?
It's a 25 society.
No.
Wow.
It's not enough.
What was it called? The what?
Uderfan.
Urdefhan. Violent warmongers, cultists, poisoners. They dwell down in the Darklands, Sekamina. As their skin is clear, their flesh is clear. They look like skeletons and organs and nerves walking around as if contained in a glass bottle.
Do you guys remember the science aid that was like the see-through guy that you could see the veins and shit? That's what like those things come to life and maybe bigger. But how creepy would that be coming at you, right?
Yeah.
And they're carrying around Roka swords? Well, no thanks.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
They use the Roka. Your mother thought if she used it too, they might feel the same terror that they activated in others, but I just don't think she was ever right. But she got addicted to the way the sword felt. Horst wasn't far behind. I think you're there too now, son.
A weapon is just a tool, and he'll pull out his modified Roka sword that he's turned into an inventor's tool.
Bokken goes, well, I'll be damned. That's interesting as fuck, son.
Watch your profanity, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just surprised. But I see you got Horst's blade. So you came across that tomb we set up, didn't you?
Yeah. Is this blade cursed?
No, it ain't cursed. It's just powerful. How'd old Horst look? Is he alright down there?
He's a little pale. He was a white.
Nugra was right then.
Who? I think
Nugra.
That's, everyone, hopefully. I'm assuming people would perk up at that.
Nugra was a strange one in those days. He and I and Horst and Marcia and Chuck, for a time, we were a party. 30 years ago. We fought the Urdefin with goal of sealing up their cave, which I think you already know based on that note. But Nugra was different. He insisted on this gaudy tomb. Room for him, room for me, room for Marsh, and a room for Horst. He set it all up. And when Horst died, Nugra said, he'll rise. And so he locked the door, set up some kind of trap in there, and staged ghost charges down in there, saying that it might come in handy someday. I see he was right. I can't believe it. I thought it was dumb as shit when he said that. And I went along with it. You always went along with Nugra. Guy's crazy.
We know.
So I know this was like 30 some odd years ago. Have you seen Nugra recently?
No.
Sense motive, perception check.
Yeah.
Natural 1.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Kratala's like, he has seen him. No. I mean, look, I don't feel the need to hide the ball here. I mean, I'm sure you other guys probably would be curious whether he's lying about that or not. I mean, you don't, other than Kratala, who thinks he's totally lying, the rest of you guys think that he's just sort of flatly answered no.
Right.
Nugra and I never got on that much. It's like he was two people. You know, he'd sometimes, he'd be rational, reasonable. Other times, just hateful and impulsive. And you never quite knew who you were getting.
I think Mitch is going to just kind of jump to something he's been wanting to ask. But it's been kind of just trying to beat around it. But he just asks Bokken, do you think my mom's alive or dead?
I ain't seen Marsh since she told me and Nugra to head for the sun, that she was going to stay behind. The sun, I'm sorry. I think she set those bombs off there deep under the ground. Buried herself and the enemy down in there.
Where?
Son, I ain't going to tell you that. We're all sworn to secrecy on this one. There's two people alive that know. One's me, and the other's Nugra if he lives at all.
Well, we talked to Nugra and he said that you could tell us.
All right. Roll the
deception
check. That's a high DC.
I'm not going to say that because I am a horrible liar.
Son, I know it's hard to hear. You got to know, though, Marsh was a hero. She stopped something awful. And you should be proud.
Mitch will just kind of step out of the hut for a while.
Would you have any ideas on where Nugra, if he was still alive, might hole up or hide out? Did you all have a place back in the day that would be a good place to check?
He looks down for a long moment and he says, fellas, you put me in a tough position. So I'm not telling you where that cave is. But if I were a betting man, I'll bet you that's where Nugra went. Okay. Bokken's perspective on this is like, that sucks, but I ain't gonna tell anyone where this is because I'm not gonna trigger an apocalypse. Like, he just sees
people opening it up, or
right. Yeah. Like, no one can know where it is.
Does any know who we are? Like, we wouldn't do something like that.
You're a responsible adult, sir.
We would totally not go down there and poke around.
We're very adulty adults.
What other methods do we have to find the cave?
We can talk to Chuck.
Chuck might
talk
know.
To Mitch's dad, yeah. See if
That'd probably be the next step, figure out where that other party is.
Well, and I think Mitch will ask just Bokken real quick, like, how much of what you've told me does my father know?
I don't know what he knows. I haven't talked to him in a long time. You picture kind of what this all might have looked like. This party of adventurers a generation ago. A druid, Nugra, an alchemist, Bokken, and a couple of marshals up front, whatever classes they were, Marsh and Horst. And that was a party,
So yeah. So I think he tells Bokken, if you ever decide to crawl out of the hole you've dug yourself into of pity and despair and want to actually use your powers and energy for good, we're out there. That's it.
Make a diplomacy check.
Oh, that's gonna fail horribly.
Can I aid in any way?
Yeah.
I rolled a 5.
Don, could you go back to the computer dice?
What do I give you, a +2?
So I got an 8, I think. So yeah.
Yeah. He says, I'll do that. And
Kind of like we should have lunch
Yeah, right.
response.
Katala goes, Bokken, before we go, I got 2 words for you, pal. Suck it. Gives him a crotch chop.
Well, thus ends a predictably unpredictable interaction.
That was good.
Some heavy stuff, some